Well, the time is just gone 17 minutes past 4 p.m. as we kick off this afternoon on the Iftar drive on the second day of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. We take a look at what is taking place out in Sudan. We know a few days ago we heard of the United Nations Security Council passing a resolution for with regard to Sudan in terms of a ceasefire. And we know with the month of Ramadan and even prior to the month of Ramadan, there has been a huge problem with regard to starvation and the hunger crisis. And we've learned about 230,000 children at risk of going hungry in the civil war that is taking place. And we're going across now to be joined by Sudanese commentator Dr. Abdul-Karim Elgoni. Dr. Abdul-Karim, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome.
Hello.
Dr. Abdul-Karim, Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Jazakallah khairan so much for joining us, Dr. Abdul-Karim. Ramadan Karim to you, but we know that there are serious concerns in Sudan with regard to the hunger crisis, particularly now in the month of Ramadan.
You are right. Thank you very much for having me. Actually, not only me and you, but there are millions of Sudanese who were hoping that after the meeting of the United Nations Security Council that the Sudanese, the fighting Sudanese will come to their senses and stop the war, at least if they don't want to stop it completely, to stop it during the month of Ramadan, so that people can have nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it seems they have lost all their senses and they insisted on continuing fighting. It is true that the rapid support forces have declared that they agree to the request of the Security Council. But actually, it is not only the Security Council, it is the Security Council, it is the Arab League, it is Egypt, it is Saudi Arabia, it is the African Union, it is the Sudanese all over, and all those people who are peace loving. They wanted the war to stop. But the army is insisting to continue to fight. I don't know what is their agenda, but it is really a very sad situation.
Dr. Abdul Karim, how serious is the situation on the ground with regard to the hunger crisis as we speak?
You see, the situation of the hunger crisis is very serious for two reasons. The first reason is that you know the agriculture season in Sudan starts between July and October. And last year, July and October was the heat of the war, and everyone was running. So no one was there to cultivate the land. And then people lost their jobs and lost all the monies that they have secured. So we have two problems. The one problem is that no one was there to cultivate the land. So there is no agricultural production in Sudan for last year. And there is no money because people have lost all their resources. Either they were looted or they were burnt by the bombing or they lost their jobs. And this have created a very difficult situation for everyone, because today, even if you have money, there is no food. Even if you have money, there is no food, because the food is now being imported from neighboring countries. It is a real famine that is going to happen in Sudan.
Yes, in fact, I've been looking at the pictures, the video, we've been following some of the television reports as well, and clearly it is not a very good sight. Just looking at what's happening, and especially talking about children as well. And today when we look at a month of compassion, a month of mercy, a month where we actually show solidarity with people who don't have at this point in time. It is clear, Dr. Abdul-Karim, that the situation requires urgent intervention from what you described.
Yes, it requires urgent intervention, definitely, and it needs the help of every helping hand. I remember that Waqf al-Waqifin at the beginning of the war have provided some support to the refugees in Chad, which raised the banner of the South African Muslims and of South Africa for their caring spirit for their brothers. And this year we will be even needing more. We are trying our best, but the problem is very big. Not only in the food, but children were without education for almost a whole year. Families has been dispersed in all directions, and in this holy month of Ramadan, we ask every Muslim in South Africa, everyone who is listening now, to make dua for us today in Taraweeh and in Tahajjud and in every Salah, that Allah help us to stop this war in Sudan. Because we are losing life, we are creating a huge misery, and it seems that our army officers and the chiefs there and the fighting people are not concerned about it. They are just looking for a victory for themselves and not for peace in Sudan.
Dr. Abdul Karim, yes, obviously we will make dua and we encourage people to make dua even at the time of iftar when duas are accepted and people raise their hands just before they make the iftar as well. And at any point in time to continue making dua, but also more importantly, in terms of support and the level of support. Now, I know you mentioned Waqful Waqifin and just looking at aid at this point in time coming into Sudan. How easy, how difficult is it for aid to get to people? So at least I know it's a huge problem. We may not reach everybody, but to a large extent, I think, we can at least, at the very least, reach a certain people.
Yes, let me put it very frankly to you. There are hundreds or thousands of tons of aid that arrived in Port Sudan. But the government in Port Sudan and the army refused to allow that to trickle down into Sudan, except for the few things that usually corrupt people will take them to the market. So people were buying it from the market, but otherwise there is no way to take supplies inside Sudan. So the supplies are mainly coming from South Sudan to the refugees in the border with South Sudan, or coming to eastern Chad where there are refugees. And Egypt is also a site, but not Egypt was very reluctant to allow uh, aid there because it doesn't want to encourage more Sudanese to cross the border into Egypt. But as we are talking now, the only place where Sudanese can receive supplementary food is for the refugees in Egypt, in Chad, and in southern Sudan, and there are a few in eastern, in western Ethiopia. But in Sudan itself, it's very difficult to take it there. This is what the United Nations wanted to do, but the army is refusing. The army is saying any food that is coming there, we are not going to allow it at all. The army put it openly. They spoke about it not more than once, not more than twice, that they are not going to allow any food to areas where the army is not in control, which is the majority of Sudan.
Well, the situation is appears as if the resolution for ceasefire that was passed by the United Nations Council is also not going to be effective. You are describing Dr. Abdul Karim because it looks as if the army is once again dictating terms in terms of what has done. And we see exactly similar, no matter what we can say, no matter what the United Nations can say, no matter what the ICJ can say with regard to Israel, they will still continue regardless. And it appears as if the Sudanese army is no different.
Yes, I think I agree with you, but what can we see? You see, we are civilians. All what we hope for is to care as little that we can do. But when you have the guns, you always dictate what happens. Look at what is happening, as you said, to our brothers in Gaza and in Palestine. They are suffering even worse than the Sudanese, and we always pray for them. And you feel very unhappy that you can't give any helping hand. That makes a difference. It really kills your heart and make you feel nothing. It's really depressing. It's really depressing, especially if you are a Sudanese. The situation is really depressing because at least in Gaza there is a reason for the fighting. But in Sudan there is no reason for the fighting. It's just the Muslim Brotherhood in Sudan who wanted to come back to power after the revolution in Sudan, who took al-Bashir and took them off power. And they are fighting to go back again. So they are just fighting for power, creating huge suffering, huge displacements, huge refugee status, famine, no hospitals. It's really depressing situation if when you look at it from the Sudanese perspective.
Well, certainly, Dr. Abdul-Karim, clearly very, very sad. And especially, as we say, we are in this glorious, in this noble month of Ramadan. This is a month of month where, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends upon the ummah. And yet we have a creation that is merciless, that just doesn't care. You can watch millions of people starve. They can die. And these are your own brothers. These are, people that you identify with in more ways than one. You share the same religion, you share the same culture, you share so much of the same. Yet, what is lacking is humanity, the humanity, all because at the end of the day, as you mentioned, is because of power mongering, because people want to hold on to power, people want to take power, people want to grab power. And yet, we forget that in this month of Ramadan, we look upon our Creator, Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the most powerful. And I think the sooner we recognize that, the better it is, Dr. Abdul-Karim.
This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
The people of Palestine need your support now. Africa Muslims Agency is on the ground, already providing food, medication, and emergency supplies in Gaza. Donate any amount to Heal Palestine at africamuslimsagency.co.za. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Are you looking for a cross-border road transport company that is committed in achieving high safety standards, who is fast and efficient, and also excel in customer service? Gardi Global specializes in cross-border transport from South Africa to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi. Gardi Global, situated at 10 Daniel Road, Benrose, Johannesburg. For inquiries, contact our trained staff on 011 614 3108 or email info@gardiglobal.co.za. Safe long haul into Africa is our business. Gardi Global Transport.
The Turkey-Syria earthquake is among the deadliest earthquakes of the last century. Thousands have lost their lives, and large areas and cities and towns in southern Turkey and northern Syria have turned to rubble, leaving huge numbers of residents with very little or nothing at all. Al-Imdad Foundation's emergency relief team is on the ground providing life-saving aid. The people of Turkey and Syria desperately need your support. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
The time is just gone 4:33, and we must apologize for the earlier break in communications, but I believe we've got Abdul-Karim back with us. And we even use South African that while we are horrified by the conditions we must keep in mind the ongoing crisis in Sudan. Now, last Ramadan, the Sudan were pretty on the Eid al-Fitr, when a power struggle between the army and the RSF turned the country into a battleground and forced millions to flee. The UN reported around 6 million people are displaced, 4 million internally, 1.2 million in neighboring countries and abroad. Now, this conflict has now raged for almost a year. It shows no sign of abating, and this is of great concern. And clearly, this has prolonged the suffering of the citizens, especially women and children in Sudan. And especially now, with the month of Ramadan, we heard about the United Nations Security Council calling for a ceasefire, and obviously the Sudanese are urged to respect this month of Ramadan, starting with a ceasefire as a precursor to a return to peace. Dr. Abdul-Karim Elgoni back with us. Assalamu alaikum once again.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This line is very bad. Yes, this line is very bad. I don't know. I moved and tried to improve the line, but it's not.
Once again.
Yes, I am with you.
No problem. Dr. Abdul-Karim, Jazakallah.
If we can talk on a direct line.
Can't improve the line, Dr. Abdul-Karim. We go for a quick break, come back, and hopefully a bit later in the program, we should try and get hold of Dr. Abdul-Karim once again. We're going to go for a break. Next up, we'll be joined by Achal Patel. We are focusing on the media in South Africa.
Al Kafara.